The Mikel Merino saga is over as he's officially been confirmed, as you would have seen as an Arsenal footballer. Welcome to the football club, Merino. Apparently, Aaron Ramsdale is still subject to speculation between Wolves and Southampton, and there's no resolution on such. Apparently, moves has broken down. A decision has been made on the future of Kiwior, and there's a couple of isms and schisms to get into, people. So don't forget to smash the like button, turn on your notification bells, get the creative juices flowing, and let me know any thoughts you have throughout this video, and leave them in the comment section below, and allow me to share my screen, people. Now let's go over Mikel Merino. Now, not that this will be the only time we speak about Double M, because he's obviously a footballer for Arsenal, but in terms of him signing for the football club, the saga is over. Calafiori took a while, Mikel Merino took a while, but I guess if you're working at Arsenal Football Club, or you're Mikel Arteta or Edu, and off topic, I saw on social media, it looks like Mikel Merino looks like if you took Mikel Arteta and Edu and done like a fusion thing, and he really does. But it's nice to get him signed over the club, and for me, I don't think he's a curtain raiser. I think he raises the flooring. I think because in a day and age where last summer we signed Declan Rice, £100 million, it's all about the competent players. You can sign a player, exaggeration, for £1 and they can be amazing. You can sign a player for 200 million and they don't do the job. I want the right players. What I like about him, he's confident in his role with the experience. He's competent in his role and he's consistent. And when you look at his aerial duels, his the way he wins possession, tackles, all of that kind of stuff, him being able to play as a 6 and an 8. Actually, 2 years ago, he got, I believe, 9 assists, which at the time only Griezmann at Sociedad had better. I think last season for Sociedad, only Ozyarzabal had more goals than him. And when I look at Declan Rice from I might do a video on this. When I look at Declan Rice from last season, we all know he's still learning to play the 8. There is a little question marks about Declan Rice, and maybe he could pass forward a bit more and be a bit more. I don't even know how you be a bit more risky, I guess, with his passing. When I look at that stuff and I look at what Arteta got out of Declan Rice in that regards, obviously Moreno's a bit different. He can play as an 8 and a 6. He's obviously Spanish. He's more cultured. There could be a lot we get out of him. And I wonder if the plan will still be to play Declan Rice on the left or the right, because again, I'd imagine Merino goes to the left. We get some stability with him and Calafiori / Timber down that left-hand side. Naturally, Declan Rice being a right footer steps to the right-hand side. But you can't rule out anything. Could Declan Rice go back or revert into being a 6 and Moreno's the 8? I think it's good. I think that's a tenacious midfielder. And you've got Partey and Jorginho for a year. You've obviously got the Capitano, Martin Odegaard, specifically on Moreno / Partey, Declan Rice and Odegaard, who will probably be three of those 4 names I said there will be the main kind of midfielders. It's lit, people. And at 28, he knows his role and he's different to what we have. And again, in his own way, it's not irrelevant, but it is irrelevant because nobody's won anything of significance at Arsenal Football Club collectively. Big up the FA Cup. But you've got Merino, who's obviously won a trophy with Sociedad and won the Euros. He's forcing it, but David Raya's got that now. Jorginho's won stuff at previous clubs. Kai Havertz, Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, Declan Rice with West Ham, the European trophy, and there's plenty of others. When you've got that appetite for winning, as well as that hunger of wanting to win the Premier League, and being some of you lot, or the majority of us, being burnt twice by Manchester City for the title, then we've got more of a winning mentality. So yeah, he's been officially confirmed. We did see social media rumors that he was in training. It's obviously been confirmed there, people. He's obviously spent time at Newcastle before. Happy to have the footballer at the carpet. It's as simple as that. His manager, Edu, first said, "We're so happy to have completed the transfer of Mikel Merino. This has been another great team effort from many people at the club to finalize the transfer of a player who attracted interest from a number of clubs over the summer. Mikel was a key target for us this summer. We identified him as a player who could fit perfectly into our squad and profile to improve us as we aim to build on our strong performances of last season. With Moreno's arrival, he brings us an added high quality of experience, physicality and athleticism as we look forward to this season ahead. We all welcome Mikel and his family to the club and look forward to seeing him play in an Arsenal shirt." Arteta said Mikel's a player who will bring us huge quality with his experience and versatility. Experience, obviously. Versatility, there's what we've seen with him at Sociedad in Spain with the 8 and the 6. There's what Mikel Arteta has planned. So I like that. He's played at the top of the game at both club and international level for a number of seasons now. And Mikel will make our squad significantly stronger with his technical ability together with his strong and positive character and personality. We all saw in the summer, Mikel was also a winner with his strong performances throughout the Euros, helping Spain win the tournament. We're delighted to welcome Mikel and his family to the club and can't wait to start working with him. And he will wear the number 23. That's Lokonga's shirt, really, which we know Lokonga's gone, but it's further confirmation. We knew we wasn't going to see shirt numbers change, but the 10 and the 14 shirt are vacant. Hopefully a high caliber player arrives in what's left of the window to take either one of those shirts. Wishful thinking, I know, within the next 12 months, surely, because our number 7 has a great home in Saka. Number 14, Isaac, you see what we're building. Sociedad boys are having a reunion in North London. Give it a year, come and join us. And the number 10 shirt, I'd love Odegaard to get it, but then who gets the 8? And I think Odegaard's at home in the 8. So yeah, people, maybe even young Ethan gets the 10 one day, but I digress, people. So yeah, people, as I said, we're not going to go over this because I've done a lot of tactical videos, but where you look at the duels won across the top 5 leagues last season, he's up there. Duels contested, he's up there. 6'2" as well. He's obviously cultured on the ball. He's everything you want in a midfielder, essentially, people. So yeah, big him up. The man himself has said, on tackles and duels and all of that kind of stuff, I think that's a big part of my game and shows the character I have. I love that, I want to fight for every ball, and this is something that I've learned when I was really young. Maybe you can win it or you won't, but I'm not promising I'll win every duel. But what I can promise is that I'll fight for every ball with 100%, which you need in the Premier League. It's always tough to talk about myself in those kind of terms, but I think I'm a hard worker. I want to call myself a good teammate. I like to work for the team with or without the ball, which Arteta is going to love. I'm always thinking about the collective aspect of the game. I like to play with the ball. I have a Spanish culture of football. But hey, you've sold me. I'm on this. You're saying all the right things. And from what I see on the football pitch, your feet are doing the talking as well. I think it will be massive because of how tough this league is. If you come as a new player, maybe you don't realize it until you try it. But right now, I have the idea of how this league is and how tough every game is. Obviously, talking with teammates or ex-teammates who are here, I know how high the standard is right now. You have to win every single game. I have a little idea of the stadiums, the teams, the atmosphere you're about to expect. It's always an advantage. And he said, yes, in relation to Odegaard, yes, we exchanged some messages a few days ago. He told me he was really happy for me to take this next step in my life. It was amazing sharing the picture with him back in the day. I have a lot of good memories of our connection, and hopefully we can have an even better connection here. I remember a pretty good game we made a good play we made against Osasuna, apology, away. We had a 1-2 and finished it in a goal for us. But just in general, in training, in every game, I think we had a good connection, which we want to see in that midfield. He's a player who moves extremely well behind the back of the midfielders. And for us who play in a similar position, he made the job really easy for me. Fair enough. And you would have seen, obviously, some images have come up with him 15 years ago or however many years ago, 20 years ago, better yet, in an Arsenal shirt. So, some clubs can spend all this money and have all this oil, but you can't have the streets like we do. I wouldn't move to a club that was not aligned with my desires. What I want is to grow, to win, to fulfill my dreams. I think this club has the same mentality. This is something I value a lot. I value a lot of the work they put in every single day. I spoke with Mikel Arteta and he told me the way they work. I love that way of working as well. So I think it's a perfect match. Now it's time to get to work, the part I love doing, and hopefully everything goes well. The thing that inspires me a lot is they keep doing it. They are keeping the hunger. They won't give up, and I want to come here and help them achieve their goals. Obviously, they have an amazing team, an amazing squad. I can see they have amazing facilities, amazing staff around them. So I think it's the best mix, and hopefully this year we can do some big things together. Again, there's the image you lot can see there, people. He got his dream. Lovely kind of recreation of the image, really and truly. Big him up on that one. I'm going to skip through this because as usual, the Athletic are obviously going to come out with think pieces and, how we've actually been looking for Merino for over a year and all of that ilk. We all know he's a bit different to what we typically recruit, being 28 years of age, but you see the impact Jorginho and Trossard have on the football club. Arsenal believe Merino has the attributes that should enable him to hit the ground running, which you want to hear. Obviously, having a good understanding with former teammates, now current teammates, is also good. And I think he's very different to Xhaka, but he's probably the most likely kind of thing to replace Granit Xhaka. And I'll be keen to see what Mikel Arteta has planned, people. Right up until the last few weeks, La Real persisted in their attempts to persuade Merino to renew a contract that expired in 2025. They knew, however, that it would be an uphill struggle, especially once Arsenal's interest became known. Arsenal first made informal contact with Sociedad during the Basque club's pre-season trip to Japan in early July. fair enough. Well, it's taken over a month. They were open about their interest in Moreno and the fact they understood that the player wished to join them. La Real were also aware of interest from Atletico Madrid, but the player did not entertain this. His focus was on Arsenal. Conversations between Moreno and Arteta had persuaded the Spanish international that his future laid in North London. While Arteta was convinced that Moreno was the right fit, there were some high-level conversations around the Arsenal hierarchy about whether it was the right deal to do. The club recognised that adding a 28-year-old Moreno to a central midfield that already included Partey and Jorginho was not necessarily ideal. It's true, but and that is right, because there still isn't no longevity apart from Declan Rice. If we talk about people that are likely to be pure central midfielders, obviously Ethan long term, left centre mid in the 8 could do that. But right now, let's disregard him. People that are immediately made, to be in this, you've got Declan Rice, cool, he's of the right age. Partey, 31. Jorginho, 32. This is why probably, away from the obvious, bringing in Gundogan was a myth. But I mean, he's 28. You've got a number of years, and you would imagine when Jorginho and Partey leave, if they both leave at the same time, a midfielder or two arrives. And if you have Moreno, Declan Rice, and two other midfielders of the same caliber to go with Odegaard and Ethan, we're doing all right. Or you could leave a pathway open for Ethan to a slight degree, who I expect to get some minutes. But Arsenal were not particularly taken with the midfield options available on the market this summer, either at the number 6 or number 8. Arteta is a long-term admirer of Moreno's teammate Zubimendi, but the release clause in his contract required the entire 60 million euros to be paid up front. In the context of that difficult market, opting for Moreno, a known quantity of Premier League experience, became more appealing. And, Zubimendi, 1 minute, he's been linked with several clubs and he just doesn't keep it moving, people. And we also know that we saw several players leave. I won't waffle on that. We all know we had an initial bid rejected. We all know that their president flew to London to try and get things done. And on Friday, it really began to really take shape. Arsenal hope Moreno can be the midfielder Kai Havertz was intended to be, which, leave the man up front now, really and truly, people. So, yeah, man, I'm not going to waffle about this. We know that with Moreno, you've got an 8, you've got a 6, same with Declan Rice. We can do a lot of things in that regards, people. So, yeah, big him up. And also, you've got young Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's learning to play the inverted left-back role and could potentially break in midfield. So I wish them all the best. Southampton had a bid or a deal for Bijlow rejected, people, or it hasn't worked, and they're assessing their options. Aaron Ramsdale remains on the list, but Arsenal want a loan with an obligation, and apparently with 100% agreed personal terms with Espanyol's Joan Garcia. So the Spanish influence at the club is ever growing. Arsenal have informed Jakub Kiwior and his camp that he's not for sale, despite interest from Villarreal and Bologna on a loan move. Arsenal want to keep Kiwior at the club. Fair enough, really, because I think for Kiwior needs to push for football, but from a selfish point of view, I wouldn't mind you just being part of the squad. Whether you play 10 games or 38 is your business. We all know Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, they pick up a lot of knocks. Obviously, God forbid, but if Kadafori gets injured or Timber has a setback, we're in issues. And if that's before we talk about potentially big Gabriel. So, yeah, man, you would imagine the way it's going. Kiwior, you might have to assess what's going on next January. Maybe the same goes for Aaron Ramsdale, Reece Nelson, dependent on what happens in their own futures, people. Wolves are now unlikely to sign Aaron Ramsdale. Saints move for Bijlow is off due to his medical. Russell Martin is a big fan of Ramsdale, but Arsenal pushing for a guaranteed obligation to buy in any loan deal. And with Southampton, the first thing has to be staying in the division. Is there a clause where you could do, if you stay in the division, you have to buy Ramsdale? I'm not sure. We all know Fabio Vieira's completed a loan move to FC Porto. The Athletic have said we hope to sign at least one goalkeeper before the window closes. We'd like a replacement for Aaron Ramsdale. And apparently Joan Garcia is the ideal one, and a third choice goalkeeper for experience. Is that going to be Dan Bentley? We all know Eddie Nketiah has been given permission to put the final touches on his move to Crystal Palace. He's set to be our second record sale, people, which shows that we're doing well, but could do a lot better. Kingsley Coleman apparently has agreed to leave Bayern Munich before the end of the window. Osman's agreed a move with Saudi, but there are some reports that conflict that. In an ideal world, allegedly, the Athletic have said Arteta would like another forward player. However, Arsenal are realistic about what might be possible in the remaining days of the window. Long-term target Nico Williams is perceived to be unattainable this time around. So are we going to bring one in? We are hoping to launch a late surge for a forward this week, but the club are keen to see several other deals with Mikel Merino and Eddie Nketiah over the line before stepping up attempts to recruit up front, ideally a versatile winger. Obviously, Double M has been confirmed. There's some interesting clauses in Fabio Vieira's deal. Apparently, there'll be a clause in particular if he doesn't play 50% of the matches. Ramsdale's hefty demands could put a spanner in his exit. As we know, people, he's been deemed allegedly far too expensive. Nelson's been linked with Fulham as well, which you could link up with Reece Nelson. A move for Ramsdale to Southampton could be back on. I think we've kind of gone over that already, people. Arsenal have actually also been linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin now. Again, we were linked with him a few years ago. Injuries haven't helped. His stock has fallen, but if there is interest, maybe the club get him. You know, I don't know how much he'd be, how much he would be. If he could get back to, you know, a few years ago, then it would be a decent signing, because he was one that, you know, was in contention if it wasn't Harry Kane to play up front. Obviously, Solanke, Ivan Toney, Ollie Watkins, even to a degree up until recent, Callum Wilson, they've all kind of taken that mantelpiece. And there's probably some other names that I haven't said there. I'm surprised we haven't been linked with Tammy Abraham. He was allegedly close to going to AC Milan. Romano has spoken about Nico Williams. We all know it's not going to happen. He said he doesn't think it's going to be a big name. So the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. And once again, allegedly, Fulham are eyeing up Reece Nelson, folks. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts on everything. Do you think we've got enough for the season? Do you hope we act in the market? On that note, smash the like button and all of those things. Peace.
Like